the Boston Celtics lost their best player to a torn Achilles. They traded away Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. They let Al Horford walk in free agency. And right now, they're 39-20 with the third best net rating in the entire NBA. This was supposed to be a bridge year. A season where Boston accepted its fate, saved money on the luxury tax, and waited for Jayson Tatum to come back. Instead, the Celtics are a legitimate top 4 team in the league, Jaylen Brown is having an MVP-caliber season, and the rest of the roster is playing the best basketball of their careers. So what happens when Tatum actually comes back? Because that changes everything, and not necessarily in the way you'd expect. Let's start with what Boston lost. In the span of 48 hours last June, Brad Stevens shipped out Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, 2 starters on the 2024 championship team. Holiday went to Portland for Anthony Simons. Porzingis went to Atlanta for Georges Niang and a second-round pick. Combined, Holiday and Porzingis averaged over 31 points per game in Boston. They accounted for 40% of the team's salary. Stevens openly admitted this was about getting under the second apron of the luxury tax, saving the franchise nearly $200 million in tax penalties. If you liked the video so far, drop a like so we can keep breaking down the biggest stories in the NBA. A Celtics front office executive told reporters it sucked to trade Holiday and Porzingis, but then said the quiet part out loud. We'll be a playoff team, but, you know. That pause told the whole story. Boston wasn't supposed to contend this year. Then there was Tatum himself. He tore his right Achilles in Game 4 of the second-round series against the Knicks last May. He hasn't played a single minute this season. For a team that had been built entirely around the Tatum-Brown partnership, losing Tatum was supposed to be the end of any serious ambitions. Except Jaylen Brown didn't get the memo. Without Tatum, Brown has become arguably the most dangerous offensive player in the Eastern Conference. He's averaging 29.1 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 4.9 assists per game while shooting 48.1% from the field. Those are all career highs. He dropped 50 points on the Clippers earlier this season. He had 42 against the Knicks in December. He's had multiple 40-point explosions this season, and only Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards have more 40-point games than Brown. Here's what makes this different from a typical volume scorer taking more shots on a worse team. The Celtics are winning, and winning a lot. Brown has been freed from the "is he a real number 1 option" debate that followed him for years. He told reporters that he was discouraged from taking mid-range shots at different points in his career, and now he's taking whatever shot he wants. The mid-range game has completely transformed his offensive profile. He's not just a slasher and a spot-up three-point shooter anymore. He's creating from everywhere on the floor, and Boston's offense ranks second in the NBA in offensive rating because of it. But Brown isn't doing this alone, and that's the real story. Let me know in the comments, do you think Jaylen Brown should be the MVP this season? Derrick White is having a career year of his own. He's averaging 17.1 points, 5.7 assists, 4.5 rebounds, and here's the wild stat: 1.5 blocks per game. That's 9th in the entire NBA and second among all non-centers behind only Scottie Barnes. He had a 7-block game against Utah in December, a guard with 7 blocks. White has become the connective tissue of this roster. He runs the offense, defends the other team's best perimeter player, and spaces the floor. He's the kind of player you can't replace with a single stat line because his impact is everywhere. Then there's Payton Pritchard, last season's 6th Man of the Year, who was promoted to the starting lineup and averaged 17.3 points and 5.4 assists per game before moving back to the bench after the trade deadline. He dropped 42 on the Cavaliers in November. He's had 5 30-point games this season. Pritchard went from a spark plug off the bench to a legitimate starting caliber guard. And the biggest surprise might be Neemias Queta. When Porzingis, Horford, and Kornet all left, Queta had 6 career starts to his name. Now he's started 55 of 56 games, averaging 9.8 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks while shooting 64.3% from the field. At the trade deadline, Boston added Nikola Vucevic from Chicago, giving them a legitimate 2-center rotation for the first time all season. That's 4 players having career years simultaneously. That doesn't happen by accident. Joe Mazzulla has taken a roster that everyone predicted would be a play-in team and turned it into the 2nd seed in the East with the 2nd best offense in basketball. Now here's the part that should terrify the rest of the league. Jayson Tatum is close to coming back. He's been participating in full 5-on-5 scrimmages. ESPN's Shams Charania reported that Tatum has been a full go in practice. He's said he wants to make his return at TD Garden. A decision on whether he plays this season is expected sometime in March. The Celtics clearly believe he's returning. That Vucevic trade was the signal. You don't acquire a playoff-tested center on an expiring deal if you're punting on the season. You do it because you think you're getting your franchise player back and you want to be ready. But here's the question nobody is asking loudly enough. Does the Celtics' success without Tatum actually complicate his return? This team has built an identity and a rhythm that doesn't include Jayson Tatum. Brown is the alpha, White is the floor general, Pritchard is the microwave scorer. The roles are defined. Integrating a player coming off an Achilles tear, even one as talented as Tatum, into a team that's already winning at this level isn't simple. Boston posted a 39-20 record without him. Jaylen Brown shared a comparison showing the team's offensive rating, defensive rating, and net rating are nearly identical to where they were at the All-Star break last season with Tatum in the lineup. Nearly identical, without their best player. That's not an argument against Tatum. He's a generational talent. But it is an argument that this team has become something more than a Tatum-dependent operation. And that might be the most valuable thing the Celtics could have discovered this season. If Tatum comes back healthy and Boston can manage the integration, they suddenly have a 5-man closing lineup of Tatum, Brown, White, Pritchard, and Vucevic that can match up with anyone in the East. Detroit, Cleveland, New York, it doesn't matter. That's a championship-caliber group. And if he doesn't come back, or if the Celtics decide to be cautious and hold him for the playoffs, they've already proven they can win without him. Either way, Boston is in a position nobody predicted 6 months ago. The Celtics don't need Jayson Tatum to be a great team. They've already proven that. But when they get him back, they might become an unstoppable one. And that should scare every team in the NBA. Subscribe for more NBA breakdowns. We'll see you in the next one.